I am the unicorn that is known as a COVID success story. I just want to tell you guys a little bit of a story about how I started my house cleaning business. So during COVID, right at the beginning, I had been working for years at an assisted living facility, a tiny little place. They had 11, 12 rooms. It was I think six in each house, two houses side by side. And it was an assisted living facility that was designed specifically for people who could not afford traditional assisted living facilities. Their model, I think, was a little bit outdated because they were having some financial issues. But I had worked there for many years, caregiver, and eventually worked my way up to being the activities director. Had started there. By the time 2020 came around, I had worked my way up to $17 an hour, working part time, which I had worked really hard for. And if any of you has worked in caregiving, you know that it is pretty intense work. We're helping people live, and we're helping people pass and go to the other world, sometimes dealing with their families, administering medications, helping people shower, get dressed, changing bedclothes, feeding them, just being companions. And then and I worked overnights, I worked all sorts of shifts. Actually, really great work, especially as a young mother, having a young child. As a single mom, it was just ideal for me. Anyways, then COVID happened, and I lost my job, like many Americans, many humans around the globe. And so I got COVID pretty severely right there in the beginning. It took me out. Took me probably 30 days to really fully recover. And even after that, for 6-8 months, when I'd go hiking, I'd still feel really out of breath and exhausted. But I also started getting migraines. So previously I'd have a migraine maybe like once every 6 months. And then after I recovered from COVID, I was getting 4-5 migraines a week, just taking me out. I'd wake up in the morning and realize, oh my God, I can't get out of bed. Oh my God, I can't go to work. So thankfully I was able to be on unemployment for a period of time, as were, again, most people. And then it was time, and then my employer wasn't able to bring me back on for financial reasons. And so I was trying to figure out what I was going to do. What am I going to do next? What am I going to do next? And I had done house cleaning in the past, so I decided, well, maybe I'll just start cleaning houses to help until I can figure out the next thing. So a friend of mine, his mother had passed away, and his father was in need of a house cleaner. He was older. And so I said, I'm interested. I'd love to help him. So I went, cleaned his house. I did a great job. He was impressed with me, so he hired me to continue cleaning, and then he referred me to his adult son, and then his adult son referred me to his girlfriend, who they didn't live together, so they were separate houses, and then other referrals. That particular family kind of single-handedly started my business originally, and I was in a really unique position being on unemployment at just a unique time. I don't know if anybody's ever read Malcolm Gladwell, but he talks about this kind of like the circumstances in which people become successful. And sometimes, oftentimes there are things that are, kind of can't be accounted for. But one of the things that was really beneficial to me is that because I was on unemployment, I was able to take jobs and build clientele over the course of a couple months and gradually taper off of unemployment, which was an incredible blessing. I don't take for granted how incredibly helpful that was for me. And I'm chemically sensitive, so I use all natural supplies. And so I was able to use all natural like non-toxic chemicals, because everything's a chemical, even water. I had originally, I was like chemical free, but no, they're not chemical free. They're just natural products and do a great job. And so I worked really hard, and I had a full clientele, and I was making more money than I made, more than $17 an hour. After, I guess, maybe a year and a half of that, I started to consider the idea of having employees, which was just something I never, ever thought I would do. I never thought that I could be a business owner. I never thought that I could or would be an employer. Those are not things that I thought were in my scope of ability. But I did, that first year, right in the beginning, I got an LLC. I filed it with the Secretary of State. And then, wow, it got really bright behind me. And then I opened a business bank account. I took $1,000 of my own money, thanks to the COVID relief money. I was able to take that, use that for my initial seed money for the business. So I bought vacuum cleaners. I decided right from the gate I was going to use superior quality products. So I invested in Norwex cloths, which are expensive, but I invested in Norwex supplies, which I'm glad I did, because they're really high quality, and years later, they're still going strong, actually stronger than the vacuums. Got a vacuum, and I did not put myself in debt in those first couple of years. I just only bought things as I had more money to buy them. And then I considered the idea of having employees, and that was the transition that has been the process. If any of you saw my video a couple videos ago, just recently, I lost a couple. I've really been having some challenges with employees. And so what's interesting is that when I had 3 or 4 part-time employees, at one point I had 5, but like one of them was extremely part-time, maybe working 4 hours a week, like one job a week. The costs for having an employee are, so when it's just me, when it's just an LLC, when you're a sole proprietor, you make the money that you make. Of course, you have to keep track of all the money you make. You keep track of your expenses, and then on your taxes, it's like it's a Schedule C. You just add it to your personal income taxes, and you just pay taxes on what you make. But there's not much else. There's not a lot of regulation besides that. Once I get into the territory of having employees, then I had to consider unemployment insurance, workman's comp insurance, liability insurance. I was already licensed. I got a bond. So, and then I pay a payroll company to take out taxes for them and to pay them, because to calculate PTO, those are just not things that I had the bandwidth to do. I wanted to outsource that. And then I pay an accountant now to manage the finances. I pay, what else? Of course, background checks. Those are $60 to $75 per employee. So, and then uniforms, I have, it's a t-shirt with my logo on it, but I think they're adorable. And then training. So, if I go do a house cleaning job, and let's just say it's a 4-hour job, and I'm bringing on a new employee, and I've trained them a little bit ahead of time. Of course, I have to pay them by the hour for training. And then I bring them on a job. It is going to be a significant amount of time before they are at the level that I'm at in terms of accuracy, detail-orientedness, and speed in using the method and the products that I use. And so I would say a month is kind of a fair amount of time. And so it takes me longer. It takes me more hours of working and less profit in that period of time. And so, to be entirely honest, when I have employees, I am currently taking home only slightly more than I did when it was just me working and hustling, because besides taxes, all of that was profit, taxes and supplies. And of course, there's more supplies being used, so gas in my vehicle. So it's been an interesting process. So I am a COVID success story because I started my business during COVID. I never imagined I was going to start a business. It sort of pushed me into it. And the circumstance of being able to be on unemployment gave me the gradual process. And now here I am, and I'm learning and I'm growing and I'm step by step figuring it out. So now it is August 2024. My business started in November of 2020. So I'm in my third year, and I have learned so much. And one of the things that I've learned is that in the beginning, I could get by with, I don't want to say being disorganized, because I'm not disorganized. I have a method, I have a process, I have the things that I do, but on the back end, the financial stuff, all the paperwork, all the, it was just me. And now when you have other people, I realize that, I do not have the systems in place to be able to scale. So I get a lot of ads. And the algorithms obviously know that I have a cleaning business. And so I get a lot of ads for like, scale your business, make $100,000 a year, make hundreds of $1,000s a month. And I am not. I think in revenue, like before any expenses right now, I might be at $80,000 a year or something around that. And then but then, I have all the expenses. Payroll is a huge expense because I have to make sure that there's enough money in my bank accounts to pay my employees before I pay myself. So, and so then a couple months ago, I've just been running into challenges with retaining some of the newer employees. So I have amazing people. I do not want to make it sound like I don't have amazing people, because I am so thankful for the people that have come through and that have moved on to other things. I'm so thankful for the two that are still with me. One is, again, very part-time, and but I had 5 employees 4 months ago. And then, but people move on for different reasons. They need full-time work. They need benefits that I'm not able to provide as such a small business. I did decide when I was going to start having employees that I was committed to the idea of paying a fair living wage, particularly for the work that's being done. And so I committed to paying $25 an hour to start, and deep cleans I pay $35 an hour, and because I wouldn't work for less than that, so why would I try to pay somebody else less than that? But of course that also puts me in a situation where sometimes I do end up taking home less than that because I'm paying out. And so now I'm in year 3. I'm at the point where I am ready to, like I said, I've lost a couple employees, and so I want to, squirrel moment. I want to grow, and I know that I have got to get more organized on the back end so that it creates the structure for being able to grow, because it was getting untenable for me with me being the one holding everything together with all of the employees. With it's things like booking the appointments and organizing the contracts, having an employee manual, having everything organized for them. And here I am, and I was like hustling, am still hustling in the field where I'm working 6 days a week, running out the door after my kid gets to school, and then I'm working all day. Sometimes I get home at 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the evening. Right now they're late days because I'm covering 3 people's worth of jobs. And so, because it was always just supposed to be a part-time job for me, because I want to be available for my daughter. And so I recognize that I've had the experience of what that can look like. And if I can create the structure for the organization now, it will be easier for me to bring on 1, 2, 3, 4 more employees over time as I'm able to get more business and manage it and handle it, and that it feels organized and is easily able to scale and grow. So that's the process that I'm at right now, to create an employee manual, to create some training videos, to create a standard of, the training process is the big one, because I can bring you on the job, I can train you with me, but I just need to accept that this field is a field where there is quite a high turnover. It's pretty physical work. And if I am the one that is sitting there standing next to a person every time saying, okay, here's how you clean the toilet. Okay, here's how you clean this mirror. Here's how, oh, look, there's the, then at a certain point, I can't divide myself as many times. And then also I am not able to do the cleaning. So if I can figure out a way to reproduce what I do, or to teach people what I do so that they can reproduce it, and then I have a high quality output so that my clients are getting a consistent experience every time, no matter who the cleaner is that comes, then that will allow me to be able to take a day to be in the office and to confirm all of my appointments. Because as it stands right now, I do everything on Google Calendar. The night before cleaning, I'm texting every single one of my clients saying, okay, I'm going to be here, texting every one of my employees saying, just confirming you're going to be there. And I need to automate that. I know that there's programs that can automate that. There's a lot of things that I can do to make this a little bit easier for myself. And so I'm in that process and I'm learning. And the thing is, I never thought I could do it. And yes, I'm exhausted sometimes. And yes, it's hard, but I still make more than $17 an hour. And I don't have a boss that is driving me nuts. And every one of my clients is just incredible. My regular clients, I've known them now, some of them since the beginning, for 2-3 years. So I have such a regard for them, and I care about them, and I want, and I'm sure that they appreciate me and what I do. They say that they do often, and it's a relationship. It's not just a transaction. I'm in their homes. It's a very personal thing. You really get to know somebody when you're cleaning their personal bathroom and their bedroom, and you're in their house every other week, and and so I just want to encourage, really the point of this is, I know that there's other people out there with businesses or starting businesses or thinking about starting businesses. And it's, in one sense, it's not as hard as I thought it would be. Like, you go and you be of service to people and you operate in fair exchange. So when you're in service to people and you're in fair exchange, then you're getting back, in this case, it's money, to be able to keep going and to continue offering that service. And at the end of the day, that is what it takes. And the reason that I shared what I did about my employees is because I just want to encourage you that you don't have to be a person who's hiring other people. You don't have to be an employer in order to have a business and in order to be of service. And, and in fact, you can be a solo operator and still make probably better money than if you're an hourly worker working in the service industry or whatever, than you've been making, depending on what kind of work you're doing. So, I'm probably right up there with some servers that make good tips and things like that. But yeah, if I did it, you can do it, because I'm just a regular person and I just had I just wanted to be of service and I did it. And so now, again, I'm in the process of kind of stepping back and expanding my vision so that I can create the structure to now grow. So now I'm in this place of like, okay, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can grow and provide meaningful, well-paying employment to other people. And of course, my mission involves serving people in their homes and helping them. But my mission is also adjusting to account for serving people by being able to provide good paying employment. And so paying well is a huge part of it, but being well organized so that other people know what's expected of them and then are able to then meet those expectations, exceed those expectations, do their job effectively is also really important. So this is the process of growth. These are the things that I never imagined. If you had asked me 5-10 years ago, are you going to be an employer? I would have laughed, because I'm not one of those big people who's like, oh, I'm going to. So anyways, on my last video, I actually had a comment from somebody who lives in Colorado, which is where I am. Hi. Also a business owner. So that was like super exciting to me. So feel free to tell me where you are. Feel free to tell me if you've ever had a business, or what that process has looked like for you, or what COVID was. And I do not mean to brag. COVID was difficult for all of us, and losing my job was difficult. And I also don't mean to make it sound like it's all sunshine and roses, because I work and I work and I work, and my body hurts and I'm tired and there's long hours, and it's a lot. But the fact that I can work and make good money, and when my stepdaughter messages me and says, hey, I want to go back to school shopping, I can be like, yeah, let's do it, because I whereas 10 years ago I didn't have money to spare, and now I do have enough money to say, yeah, let's go shopping and let's get you some clothes. Or I'm spending the money. All of us are dealing with the increasing cost of groceries and the increasing cost of everything, but I have the money, and I didn't have the money years ago. So there is something so empowering about knowing that if you're a person of integrity, you can be of service to other people. And if you're in fair exchange and honoring the value of your work, you can make good money. And people want to hire somebody that they can trust, who has integrity, who's good at what they do. They will pay. People want to pay for a high quality service, because right now you don't know who you can trust. And so those are all really important things. And it can be, if you're a good cook, you can provide meals for people in their homes. You can do yard cleanup. You can, do house cleaning. You can drive. I've seen people looking for somebody to drive their kids to and from school. So you're not stuck. You can do something to change your situation. And if you, I understand that there are people who feel really stuck, and I have felt really stuck in my life, particularly, when I was in abusive relationships. Those felt really hopeless, and I felt like there was no hope and no future, and how was I going to get by? But once I made the choice to get out of those relationships, it was so scary because I didn't know how was I going to be a single mom? How was I going to provide for my daughter? How could I do these things? But I did. And not to imply that my daughter's father was abusive, because he wasn't. It was other relationships that were abusive. I just want to be super clear, because this is, going on the internet. He's actually a wonderful person. But when I became a single mother, this situation opened for me at the assisted living facility, where I was able to live there, work third shift. She could live there with me. And it worked out. It does seem to work out every time that my back is up against the wall, and it feels so hopeless. So hang in there. Don't give up. And I'm not going to give up either, even if, whatever it is that we do. And in an environment like COVID, where there were so many tragedies and so many terrible things that happened, there are opportunities also for growth and for something good to come out of it. So what are some of the difficult, horrible tragedies or things that have happened where you were able to make some good out of it? Share below. I'd love to hear. Thanks.